ठीक है, मैं पहले रेडी हूँ।
Hare Krishna, Shilpa Mataji, shall I make you host?
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji. You will welcome the guest, Mataji.
No, Mataji. Actually, Narayani Mataji has not joined. She asked me to live stream and make you host.
Yes, Mataji, please. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Jeevan Gaurav, Prabhu. Welcome to ICF forum, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We can start, Prabhu.
Okay, so someone will start, share the screen or?
Sorry?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can share the screen. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. Is that okay, Prabhuji?
Yeah, that's fine. Someone wants to read the sloka?
Devotees, please raise your hands for reading. Hare Krishna. Vasudha Mataji, Hare Krishna, you can read the shloka.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. 1 second, Mataji. The screen little bit.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare
Prabhu, you want us to read the word to word, the meaning, purport and translation?
Yes.
Everything, okay. So Vasudha Mataji will do the verse, Meenakshi Mataji, the word to word meaning, Rishabhanu Mataji, the translation, and Sudha Mataji, the purport. Sudha Mataji, after this you can call out the names.
Yes, Mataji, sure. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Ulmukho ajanayat putran pushkarinyam saduttaman angam sumanasam kyatim kratum angirasam yagayam. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Synonyms. Ulmuka, Ajanayat, begot, Putran, son, Pushkarinyam, in Pushkarini, his wife. Sat, Uttaman, very good. Angam, Anga, Sumanasam, Sumana, Yatim, Yati, Kritam, Kratu, Angirisham, Angira, Gayam, Gaya. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and the Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Of the 12 sons, Ulmukha begot 6 sons in his wife Pushkarni. They were all very good sons, and their names were Enga, Anga, Sumana, Khyati, Krutu, Angira, and Gaya. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
We can go to the next sloka.
Hare Krishna. Pop-up shloka, text 18. Sunitangasya ya patni sushuveven mulbanam yadhaushilyaat sarajarshir nirvinno niragat purat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sunita, Angasya of Anga, Ya, she who, Patni, the wife, Susuve gave birth to, Venam, Vena, Ulbanam, very crooked, Yat, whose, Dauhasilyat, on account of bad character, Saha, he, Rajarishi, the saintly king Anga, Nirvignaha, very disappointed, Niragat, went out, Purat, from home. Translation. The wife of Anga, Sunita, gave birth to a son named Vena. who was very crooked. The saintly king Anga was very disappointed with Vena's bad character, and he left home and kingdom and went out to the forest. Hare Krishna.
Loka.
Hare Krishna, Chandana Mataji, you can read the shloka. Vasudha Mataji, the synonyms, and Barnali Mataji, the translation, and Krupamai Mataji, the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. Yamangashepu kupita vagvajra munaya kila gata shostasya bhuyaste mamantu dakshinam karam arajake tada loke dasyubhi pidita praja jato narayanam shena pruturadhyakshitishwaraha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Vasudha Mataji, you can read the synonyms. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Synonyms: Yam, him, Veena, whom, Anga, my dear Vidura, Sepu, they cursed, Kupita, being angry, Vak, Vajra, whose words are as strong as thunderbolt, Munaya, great sage, Kala, indeed, Gatas, aso, Tasya, after he died, Bhuya, moreover, Te, they, Mamantatu, churned, Dakshinam, right, Karam, hand, Arajake, being without a king, Tada, then, Loke, the world, Dasyubhihi, by rogues and thieves, Piditaha, suffering, Prajaha, all the citizens, Jata, advented, Narayana, of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Amsena, by a partial representation, Prutu, Adya, original, Kshiti, Ishvara, ruler of the world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, translation by Srila Prabhupada. My dear Vidura, when great sages curse, their words are as invincible as a thunderbolt. Just when they cursed King Vena out of anger, he died. After his death, since there was no king, all rogues and thieves flourished. The kingdom became unregulated and all the citizens suffered greatly. On seeing these, the great sages took the right hand of Vena as a churning rod, and as a result of their churning, Lord Vishnu in his partial representation made his advent as King Prithu, the original emperor of the world. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, Prabhuji's Mataji's.
Hare Krishna, am I audible, Mataji? Am I
Yes,
audible?
Mataji. Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mataji, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, monarchy is better than democracy because if the monarchy is very strong, the regulative principles within the kingdom are upheld very nicely. Even 100 years ago, in the state of Kashmir in India, the king was so strong that if a thief were arrested in his kingdom and brought before him, the king would immediately chop off the hands of the thief. As a result of this severe punishment, there were practically no theft cases within the kingdom. Even if someone left something on the street, no one would touch it. The rule was that things would be taken away only by the proprietor and that no one else would touch them. In the so-called democracy, wherever there is theft case, the police come and take note of the case. But generally, the thief is never caught, nor is any punishment offered to him. As a result of incapable government, at the present moment, thieves, rogues, and cheaters are very prominent all over the world. Thank you, Mataji Prabhuji.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Nananjana Salakaya Sakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatate Sadarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So welcome all the assembled Vaishnavas My pranams to all the devotees who have assembled here to hear about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, this 4th canto, 13th chapter. The descendants of Dhruva Maharaj are vividly explained, and how in the descendant of Dhruva dynasty, Utkala, Vatsara, and now actually we are going through the verses dealing with King Anga and how he married Sunita and how both of them gave birth to Vena. So one is actually the dynasty is described, and here especially in this verse, the lesson that has to be learnt is that what will happen if there is a good king in this earth, and what will happen if there is a bad king in this earthly planet. And apart from that, the earthly kings, they were devotees of the Lord, and when they rule the planet Earth, how it prosper, and when it is transferred to the evil king like Vena, how it becomes worsened. That is wonderfully explained. But before to that, we can ponder over the history of Sunita also. Sunita is none other than the daughter of Yamaraj. So we all know that the duty of Yamaraj is to torture the living entities who have committed sinful activities. He is a Mahajan, but the duty which he does is tormenting the creatures on behalf of the Supreme Lord to actually, because he has to behold the dharmic law. But Sunita, the daughter of Yamaraj, she was also cruel by nature, and she was also tormenting the living creatures. So her marriage, about how she married King Anga, is described in Padma Puran. She happened to get the association of the Apsara Ramba, and Apsara Ramba, we all know that she is expert in enticing the male form. And King Anga, he was meditating, and later by the trick taught by Apsara Ramba, Sunita was successful in enticing King Anga. Then actually it was like almost like a Gandharva marriage. They both married, and then we all know that Sunita and King Anga, they gave birth to King Vena. So in this material world, there is no guarantee. Even if the parents are devotees, there is no guarantee that the child who will be born will be a devotee. And sometimes in Asuric family also, devotees they may get their birth. Like Prahlad was born in the womb of Kayadu, fathered by Hiranyakashipu. So here, actually, King Anga was a pious ruler. So he was perfectly following the dharmic rules. But by the will of providence, he happened to marry the daughter of Yamaraj, Sunita, who was cruel by nature. And that's how King Vena, he also got the mood, temperament of his mother, Sunita. So somewhere actually the traits, the gene, it comes, that is clearly visible. There is nothing like everything is accidental in birth. And one more thing, it also shows how actually the householder life can also become miserable. Vidura was wonderfully explaining about the nature of Grahastha ashram. So he was actually explaining it to his brother Dhritarashtra. He gave an example like a person who was feeling hunger and thirst. He was running in a forest. He couldn't find any shelter. Then actually in the midst of running, his leg, it was crumpled by the creepers, and he fell upside down in a well. And he was almost like in a upside down hanging position. And he was the well was surrounded by wild animals. And below the well there was a snake. And the creeper in which he was hanging, it was actually bitten by a white snake and a white rat and also a black rat. And at the time, from the beehive, some drops of honey fell into his mouth, and he was thinking, how nice is this life? So the analogy is that the well is compared to household life. The snake which was below him, ready to bite him, is compared to death. And also the black rat refers to night, and also the white rat refers to daytime. And the creeper, it refers to the bondage in material life, the relationship. And also the honey falling down from the beehive. So it's the pleasure one derives from the household life. And the wild animals surrounding the well, it is compared to the miseries. So this is actually situation for all of us. In this material world, any situation can turn upside down. And if a person feels that he is in a comfortable zone, the next second, it can turn upside down. And that uncomfortable zone can transform itself into a comfort zone. But nothing is predictable in this material world. And the relationship are transient and temporary. One has to understand that. So here, the miseries caused in this material existence, it's only due to the mutual attraction between the male and female. So here actually King Anga, he got married to Sunita only in Gandharva style. There are 6 types of marriages. One is like the Vedic ceremony, and like the kidnapping, which is generally done by the Asuras, and also the Gandharva marriage. And even in Gandharva marriage, they have to utter the mantra Om. That is also considered to be tantamount to a Vedic sacrifice. So there are many procedures. But whatever it may be, in any type of material entanglement, one is sure to expect untoward incident. Because generally, the material life, it is appeasing that it is actually going to be a merrymaking life. But we can see clearly how apparently it may look nice, and later it can also turn oneself into a most pitiable condition. There is no doubt on that. So here, what we have to learn is that it is true, in the Vedic system, we know in the Varnashrama system, there are Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. Those who are in a crying mood, those who can't control their senses, they are given license to get married. But those who are determined to go back to Godhead, and those who are determined to control their senses, they can avoid 75 to 80% of the problem by not getting married. And generally in the Grahastha ashram, it is like a magic ring. Those who are outside, they want to come inside, and those who are inside, they want to come outside. So that is actually the mystic potency of Maya. In whatever way one performs marriage, sure, it is for sure, it is for guarantee that one, without his knowledge, unexpectedly has to face a lot of troubles and miseries. And here, definitely King Anga, he didn't expect that he would get a bad son like Vena. So initially he was thinking that no son is better than having a bad son. But later he came to the conclusion that bad son is actually better than having a good son. Because actually a good son can lead only to attachment. Whereas a bad son, one can develop detachment from the materialistic householder life, and he can even develop devotion to the Supreme Lord. So actually, if a person gets a cooperative wife, he is fortunate. There is no doubt on that. But if a person gets a quarrelsome wife, if he is intelligent, he is most fortunate, Prabhupada used to say. Because actually, the frustration with materialistic way of life is the only qualification to become Krishna consciousness. And naturally, when one gets frustrated, especially in the family relations, naturally a sense of detachment comes, or else actually a sense of attachment only comes. So in the case of King Anga, due to the frustration of getting a bad son, he, even without saying to his dear wife and to his citizens and to his ministers, all one day he left his kingdom, never to be seen again. So actually, how things work, that is also unpredictable. And even the worst situation can also be dovetailed into a favorable situation if one chooses the path of devotion. And that is possible only for an intelligent person, because the frustration is also for many householders. But due to ignorance and due to dull intelligence, they are not able to proceed the path of devotion in a determined spirit. So actually, household life, in both ways, Krishna has designed this Varnashrama system, that either one can approach him swiftly, or one can even approach him in a slower pace. But that pressure one receives in his household life, generally it actually steers up towards approaching the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, because the householder life is generally a miserable life. And this is the precarious condition in general with all the householder life in this age of Kali. So this is actually King Vena's situation. And we all know that the sons of Advaita Acharya, he had 6 sons. Advaita Acharya, he is Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. He had 6 sons with Mother Sita Thakurani. Only 3 were favorable in cultivating Krishna consciousness. The other 3, they were not favorable for Krishna consciousness. So it clearly explains he is Mahavishnu. Even for Mahavishnu, when he descends in this material world, it is not guaranteed that his children will be Krishna consciousness. And generally in materialistic life, one expects intimacy, one expects personal relationship and one expects everything. There should be a reciprocal in terms of love, and there should be a deep bondage. But practically, that is not possible. A person actually desires to live with the opposite gender. But if a person desires that I desire only to live with Krishna, then his life becomes perfect. King Vena realized only after marrying Sunita, and after begetting only a Vena, because actually a bad son can disrepute a family. And one more thing, actually the laws of nature, it is very cumbersome, and the intricacy of the laws of nature are difficult to understand. It is very subtle. Sometimes what happens, because actually King Vena was pious in his present life, but due to some sins he committed in his earlier life, actually he didn't have any progeny, and then he did many sacrifice, and then at the end of the sacrifice, the Supreme Lord appeared uh, holding a part of payasam, and then the payasam, a portion of it was given to Sunita, and even after drinking that, she got only personality with a crooked nature, cruelty nature, a troublesome person like Vena. So here it is clearly visible, tangible, that actually material world, there is always uncertainty. And the second lesson that should be learned is that sometimes whatever action one does, he may think that actually he is prospering, but whatever bad action he is doing, or even the good action, it can influence and it can affect his relations. Sometimes actually a person may have illicit connection with a woman, and he may think that it is not affecting him, but it may affect his mother, because having illicit sex means actually it's like a tantamount to having it with the mother. And sometimes a woman may have illicit connection with a man, and she may think that I am not suffering, but actually his father may be, her father may be suffering a great. So like that, the intricacy of the laws of nature is very difficult to understand. And sometimes we all know that how actually the parent doing deeds, good or bad deeds, affecting their children or even the grandchildren. It can go on, go on, and go on. Sometimes if a person does a bad deed, even his generations will get affected, in the sense that actually only who have done cruelty or sinful actions, they get birth in the dynasty. So here actually Dhruva Maharaj, we all know that how exalted he was. But we all know that Hiranyakashipu gave birth to persons like Prahlad, and in the dynasty of Dhruva, there are persons like Vena also. But anyhow, if it is taken in the right spirit, because Mahaprabhu has descended into this world only to teach us detachment and devotion. Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga, Sikshatam Eka, Purusha Puranaha, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari, Kripambudiryas Tamaham Prapadye. He has descended to teach us the real knowledge, the detachment, and also devotional service to Sri Hari. So this also gives us an boost or confidence or impetus that actually in rendering devotional service, actually the onus lies only on us. There is no gain in criticizing our surroundings or criticizing our relation. The realization has to come within, because whenever such calamity happens, instead of blaming others, if a person starts to introspect himself, then he can make the right opportunity even amidst the worst situation. So that's why King Vena's opinion started to change because he initially thought that no son is better than bad son. Because actually a bad son can disrepute the entire dynasty. So if a person doesn't have any progeny, that's well and good. And now actually after giving birth to Vena, then actually he started to realize the opposite. He only actually gave the impetus in giving up the kingdom. And this also gives us a lesson because many dynasties are explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So 2 lessons we can learn. So those who are all the great rulers, they are devotees of the Lord. And even after ruling the great opulent kingdom with the riches, family, ministers, opulence, a day will come when they have to renounce. So that is also clearly explained. That cannot go all along the life. So this life is not a path of full of lotus petals or rose petals. So if a person actually puts 3 knot while marrying, so it means that actually he himself has to remove the 3 knots at one point of time in his lifetime. And that is actually a vanaprastha stage. But generally people don't realize that. They want to get attached to their life partners all through the life till they leave their body. And that is not going to help them spiritually. So that's why the system is perfectly orchestrated and designed in such a way that at a certain point of life, there should be a gradual elevation in a spiritual life. Either it can be swift, or even when he goes through brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, it has to go through the cycle. And it can come in any way because sometimes the situation, the circumstances will vary from person to person. For some person, Krishna might have given wonderful family members who are all favorable to Krishna conscious. He should think that this is a good situation for me. And for some person, it can be troublesome, and he should introspect that this is the right situation for me to do wonderful devotional service. Sometimes even if the family members are favorable, the tendency is to take things for granted. And sometimes if the family members are troublesome, then he becomes little serious or more serious in spiritual life. So that can happen in any way. So comfort zone not necessarily mean that one can also render a devotional service in a comfortable way and go back to Godhead. One has to become a serious at one point of time. And that is actually perfectly planned by the supreme will of Krishna. And here we can see that Yamaraj, he gave, we all know that he fathered Yudhishthira Maharaj. We all know that. And we all know that he again fathered Sunita, who was cruel. See, he is a Mahajan. He is one among the 12 Mahajan. So, one daughter, we can know that how she became cruel. And we all know that when he fathered Yudhishthira Maharaj, how actually he was abiding the dharmic law. See, this is the situation for Yamaraja himself that we have to understand. And even Yamaraj tested Yudhishthira Maharaj during the Yaksha Prashna. He asked many questions. I think in various topics, somewhere around 126 questions. And he asked one question to Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is truly happy? And for that, Yudhishthira Maharaj answered, one who cooks food in his own house, one who doesn't go out of his country for livelihood, and one who is not a debtor. So he answered. So it can be understood in both ways. One is apara vichar and the other one is tattva vichar. Apara vichar means because this world is full of relative experience. whatever one experience, he can also develop a concept of life only and act only as per that. So it means that one can think that if I actually cook only in my own home, in my whether it is a purchased or rented home, he can be truly happy. And if he doesn't have any debit, credit card or loans, then he can be happy. And he can also think that my birth town is this city, so I have got a job or doing business in the same city, so I am truly happy. So it can be understood even in apparent way. That is actually apara vichar. But actually the deep meaning in that is that tattva vichar. So actually one who cooks a food in his own house, so it means that we all know that for the soul, the home is actually Vaikunta or Golokadam. There is actually no thirst and hunger, but still, if one desires to eat, he eats his own home. So if he starts to eat out of his home, means if he comes to the material world and he is starting eating, then he cannot be truly happy. If a fish comes out of water, it cannot be truly happy. Even if it is kept in a sofa set and feeded with ice cream, a fish cannot be happy. Fish can be happy only when it is residing in water. So the soul can be happy when it is only connected with the Supreme Lord. A deep connection, eternal connection is that. And a debtor. We all know that a person who is born in this material world has 5 types of debit, like with the sages, with the demigods, with the forefathers, and with the relations, and for the sages. So for the sages means if one recites scriptures, then he can be freed from that debit. Parents, relations, okay, he can serve them, but not necessarily he will be fully free from the debit. And also for the demigods, they are giving us Vayu and Agni and many ingredients. We are indebted. So a person has 5 types of debit, but only when he is surrendering to the lotus feet of Mukunda, Govinda, Krishna, he is freed from all types of debit. So naturally, a person who is in the spiritual world is free of all types of debit. So why to reside in a place where anyway, actually, even the aristocratic people, they would have been loitering in the street. Then maybe due to some time factor, they might have become a millionaire, and maybe in the future they may also become a pauper. But in the spiritual world, it is not like that. And we can say residing out of the hometown for livelihood. Actually serving Krishna in his own abode, Golakadam, that's actually the correct place to stay. So like that, actually, even whatever is mentioned in scriptures, it can be understood either in the Apara Vichar mode or in the Tattva Vichar mode. Because actually, if it is understood from the absolute point of view, then actually there is meaning in life. Then we all know that Yamaraj asked a question, what is the most wonderful thing in this world? He explained, Yudhishthira Maharaj, every day people are seeing hundreds and thousands of bodies going to the crematorium, but he thinks that he is not going to die, and that is the most wonderful aspect in this world. And he also asked one more question to Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is the news in this material world? And he said that actually the pan, so the pan is the pan, and we all know that the frying pan, and actually the Agni, it is compared to the sun, and the fuel is compared to day and night, and the season and months are compared to wooden ladle, and the time is the cook, and living entities are deeply fried in the pan. This is material existence. Even before 50 years or 100 years, whether it is murder, theft, robbery, or molestation, the same news is only coming in the newspaper, but only names will change. The victim may change or the accused name will change, but the same newspaper, same news only is coming. And actually, that is the only news in this material world. All living entities are deeply fried in this samsara ocean, deep fried. And everyone thinks that he is the most happy. So very only if a person gets a knowledge of the scriptures, he can start to realize that this material world is so troublesome. And if a person realizes that this troublesome we invited only due to one reason, that we have forgotten Krishna. The problem can come in any form, but the root cause is that we have forgotten Krishna. So that's the thing. So here actually King Anga cannot blame anyone. He cannot blame the Supreme Lord. Oh, I have done devotion. So why you have given sons like Vena to me? He cannot blame that, I was somehow subdued by the gesture of Sunita when I was in trance meditation. Or Anga cannot blame Sunita's association with Ramba, because Ramba only actually taught her how to subdue King Anga. The factors actually we can blame fingers on many person, but it's not the ultimate. The ultimate is that Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. Are we proceeding towards serving the Supreme Lord with the sense of detachment? So attachment and detachment, we all know that actually it goes ill together. The attachment propensity can be only dovetailed by having a good satsang with devotees, by cultivating relationship with Krishna. So only these things can help one. Detachment, actually, Vaishnavas, they are neither enjoyers or they are neither renunciants. So they are only servants. So whatever can be utilized in the service of Krishna, that can be utilized. So, and we all know that the story doesn't end here. And we all know that after Vena, he took over the kingdom. Actually, the other rogues and thieves, they became silent. And he was doing many atrocities act in which even Mother Earth suffered heavily. We all know that actually Mother Earth prayed to Brahma to relieve her of her burden, because the Mother Earth was ruled by kings like Kamsa and Jarasandha. And when Brahma requested and appealed to the Supreme Lord, then the Supreme Lord accepted that very soon he will appear in the dynasty of Yadu. So like that, Vena, when he was ruling the earth, actually Mother Earth was terribly distressed. We all know that. Terrible distress. So that's why actually, due to the atrocities of King Vena, Mother Earth, she couldn't produce any grains or minerals, or she didn't even show any types of prosperity. And later, it was like a awkward situation. And King Vena, due to his sinful activities, he also didn't get any child. And when the atrocity reached the epitome, when he claimed himself that he is the supreme, I am Lord Vishnu, then actually the saints and Brahmana, they had no other go. They cursed him and he died. But somehow his body was maintained, and we all know that in the ancient scientific way, his body was preserved. And then because someone has to rule the kingdom, and he also committed a lot of sin. So when his thigh portion was churned, I think that Nishada, that tribal community person appeared, because he was having all the traits of sin. And in the hand portion, when it was churned, a beautiful personality, Prithu, he appeared. So here, like Hiranyakashipu, how he got to Prahalad from the body of the king Vena, how Prithu Maharaj also appeared, we can know that. So from King Vena, from King Anga, a bad son like Vena appeared, and from the body of again the King Vena, Prithu Maharaj also appeared. So much contradiction we can see. But there are many lessons to be learnt, and we all know that later how Prithu Maharaj, he chastised Mother Earth, and then she surrendered in the form of cow, and then she accepted to produce crops, food grains. And then he was a perfect ruler, he was a Saktivesa Avatara. And how again things got adjusted. So it is nothing predicted in this material world. Prahlad can also produce sons like Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu can also produce sons like Prahlad. In spite of that, the lesson which we can learn from here is that whether one rules a kingdom, if it is to be prospered, then naturally he has to be a devotee. And even if he happens to be a devotee at one point of time, he has to renounce that worldly kingdom. Ultimately, detachment and devotional service is the ultimate, because generally, see, the materialistic people, they are attracted to become like a king, and women, they like to be in a position like a queen, and they want to be enticed with such a opulent kingdom forever. But that's not possible. And even if they attain that position, so these are all the great personalities, even the riches and opulence can't even be imagined. But at a certain point of time, they got the knowledge by the grace of there, maybe we can say forefathers like Dhruva Maharaj or the Supreme. So actually we can say it is a blessing in disguise. So sometimes actually good family members, well, that's well and good. It's up to them. Sometimes the troublesome family members, yeah, that's a blessing in disguise to advance in spiritual path. So whatever actually is awarded to us, that should be accepted as a benediction. And that is how we have to navigate practically in our material life. And here the king, though he had many subjects, he ruled all over, he had tremendous influence. But at one fine day, even without the knowledge of his relative, he left his kingdom. So in Mahabharata, there are mentioned like there are 5 types of glorious death. Like one who drowns in river like Ganga, Yamuna, one who fights in the battlefield without showing his back, one who gives up the body in Agni, or one who, we can say like one who goes to some holy pilgrimage without the knowledge of relatives and gives up the body. That are all considered to be a glorious departure. But for a devotee, the glorious departure is that if he can remember Krishna at the time of death, it's well and good. Or at least if he renders devotional service by chanting the holy name and then gives up the body in any circumstances, that is also considered to be a glorious. It can come in any condition. So that is the lessons which we have to learn. And that's why actually the dynasty, so much dynastities are given. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, principles are there, details are also there. Principle we have to learn. So there is not necessary we have to learn how many descendants are there, what are all the family members. Those information not necessarily one has to keep in a fingertip, but the principles of devotion that we have to learn. So the dynasty means actually, yeah, the dynasty of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj are vividly and wonderfully explained. But how actually by the influence of time, the situation gets changed, and how ultimately the king, because actually we can say that actually one at least has to be materially intelligent. Few villagers, they approached the king, and the king asked them, what favor do you need? One person told that I want a beautiful house like a palace. Then king told, okay, it can be made. The other person, he approached that I don't have proper roads to my house. Then the king told, okay, that can be also made. The other person, he was also very poor. So he approached the king. And when king asked what favor you want, he just requested, you have to come in my house and reside for one day. So naturally, the king generally he doesn't live in a place which is full of filth, or he cannot live in a hut. So naturally, yeah, palaces it was constructed, and naturally, king will not come where there is no path. So naturally, the nice roads were also constructed. So like that, even materially, how the intelligence is applied in the spiritual aspect also. So in spite of desiring and aspiring to get so much accumulate. No, it's only a detachment, and how much we are attached in serving Krishna. And this wonderful descendants, how they were ideal example, and how they also acted as pious king in the sense how they were devoted to Krishna. That is nicely explained. And also the temporary and transient nature of material life, especially the household life, is also mentioned. And how actually sex is the only trouble for, it is the kingmaker of all troubles in this material world. And if a person can control his senses, then actually he can become happy. We can even say that if he is devoted, his life can also become very blissful. So, okay, with this, I am ending this session. So if you have any questions, comments, realization, you are free to ask. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful class. A lot of realizations. Devotees, anybody has any question? Hare-
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat
Yes,
Pranams.
Mataji.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams, Prabhuji, you were telling about 5 kind of dates we are born with. What are the sages, demigods, parents? What are the others, Prabhuji?
One is actually the sages,
Hmm.
and to liquidate the debit we have for the sages, actually we have to read the scriptures. And for demigods, they are giving us so many ingredients. So whenever the person engages in sacrifices, a portion of that sacrifice also goes to the demigod. So that's why actually a person should be dharmic. So the sages, and then the demigods, and also the parents, because actually the parents actually whatever service we do, actually it cannot be liquidated, because they give the body, and they nurture us. And even the relations, we are getting many services, and even the birds and animals also. Like for the winter season, we wear woolen cloths which comes from sheep, and we drink milk which is given by mother cow. So we are indebted to all such personalities. And even if we make attempt to liquidate doubt to these personalities, even if we make attempt, we will be creating only more debit. That's why the attempt should be made only to surrender to Mukunda, Govinda, Krishna. And when one surrenders and takes shelter of Mukunda, naturally all the debits are liquidated. So we can say that actually Krishna is the creator of problem in this material world, and when we approach Krishna and surrender to his lotus feet, he can easily remove all those problems. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranams. Very nice.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, there are no more questions. Can we end the class with prayers?
Yes, Mataji.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha
पतितानां
Vaishnavi
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
नमो
अनंत कोटि
जय
वैष्णव वृंद की जय शिला प्रभुपाद की जय
ग्रंथराज भागवत
ग्रंथराज भागवतम की जय जय
हरे
कृष्ण माता
हरे
जी
कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
Thank you,
जी
Mataji.
थैंक यू
Hare
दंडवत
Krishna.
प्रणाम
Prabhuji.